Hey guys, what's up? So we just had an update on official server. It's now live, so let's check out what are the changes. First are the nerfed heroes. Carrie's passive damage is now weaker in the early game. They also lowered the basic attack damage when she is in ultimate form. Should we stop banning Carrie now? Next is the nerf on Glue. His first skill damage is now lower by 100 to 50 points, and the heal is reduced by half in the early game. So the developers didn't do anything with his continuous immobilize effect, which I think is very annoying when fighting Glue. Is this enough to remove him from the ban section? Next is the nerf on Lapu Lapu. They lowered the damage of his first skill and his enhanced ultimate. I think these are just slight changes. He's still going to be a good pick since his durability is not affected. Next is the nerf on Eve. The initial slow effect on her second skill is now weaker. The final slow remains the same though, and they added 8 to 10 seconds of cooldown to her ultimate. Honestly, I think she's still decent after these changes. Next is the nerf on Hayabusa. The developer said he is overperforming, so a slight nerf is needed on his first skill. That's minus 20 points of damage on all levels. Next is the nerf on Moskov. Long cooldown on his first skill, and the attack speed buff is now weaker in the early game. The developer said it's a way to weaken his early game 1 versus 1 and farming power. Was it a fair nerf? Next is the indirect nerf on Fanny. Skills that can airborne and suppress will now fully stop fast-moving skills. This means Fanny will now be stopped in mid-air when airborne or suppressed. To compensate Fanny, they had to increase her HP growth by 10 points. In short, she is now easier to counter in exchange for a slightly higher HP. Now let's move on to the buffed heroes. First on the list is Hanabi. They increased the projectile velocity of her ultimate and second skill. This means the skills will now land faster. Shield from sources other than her first skill will now grant CC immunity, and her basic attacks will continue to bounce if the first target is not a tower. Next is the buff on Esmeralda. They increase the base and scaling damage of her second skill. The cooldown reduction when hitting a hero is also increased from 1.3 to 1.5 seconds. It means her combos are easier to spam and will also deal more damage. Next is the buff on Yin. He will now gain 8% spell vamp if there are no allied heroes nearby. The developer said it's a way to make him valuable in the experience lane. Next is the buff on Nathan. They made changes to his passive stats to increase his early game damage and late game sustain. Ultimate now has a slightly shorter cooldown of 4 to 8 seconds. Next is the buff on Julian. Higher damage on his passive and enhanced skill 1 and 2. Will he become popular again after this update? Next is the buff on Cyclops. They lowered the mana cost of his second skill. Ultimate is also buffed with a plus 50 to 80 points of base damage. Next is the buff on Paquito. He now gains more shield from his first skill. The enhanced damage of his second skill is also increased. The developer said he is underperforming, so a slight buff is needed. Next is the buff on Edit. Her passive damage is now based on the enemy's maximum HP, and it now deals more against minions. The shield when using her ultimate is now based on her maximum HP, and they also increase the attack speed and lifesteal boost during her ultimate state. Are we going to see more Edit on Experience Lane? Next are the in-game changes. Knockbacks will now have a mini stun effect, and they will be considered as crowd control skills. Skill indicators were updated to match the actual skills. Don't be alarmed if you find some indicators different from what you remember. This just means they are now more accurate. Last one is the game resource optimization for phones with limited storage space. This is for phones with less than 16 gigabytes of storage space. Essential resources will be separated from non-essential ones. It means you can choose not to download those HD skin models, animations, and custom map resources that are not needed to run the basic functionality of the game. This will give you more storage and allow you to still play the game normally. So what can you say about the update? Do you agree with the nerfs? Share your thoughts in the comment section. That's all for this video. Stay safe and thank you for watching.